again. John.
Josh.
We watched Robocop.
Oh.
Not the old one, the new one that came out last year. It just came on Netflix not too long ago, and it's been out for like a little over a year now.
Yeah, I'd say about a year.
So I got curious. You know, I wanted to watch it when I saw that it came out last year, but I put it off for a while, and I never got around to watching it. But then when I saw it on Netflix, I said I love the original, the 1987 one, so I said I should give this a try. And so I did, so that's what we're going to talk about.
You know, obviously, Robocop, you know, it's a classic movie. They kind of went through this phase where they were kind of rebooting movies that were popular in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, you see now, like, they're doing a new it's not reboot, but they're redoing, you know, making a new Terminator. They redid Total Recall, which I wasn't particularly a fan of.
I didn't watch it, but I heard bad things.
Yeah, it wasn't as good as the original.
I'll stick with the Arnold one.
So kind of going into this, I was a little bit not skeptical, but you know, and obviously it had been a little while since I'd seen the original.
Yeah.
So went back and you know watched a lot of it over to kind of give myself a refresher, and sat down and tried to give it the new one, you know, my best effort. You know, I want to like it.
This has really big actors.
Right.
So it's got Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
It's got Michael Keaton. It's got Gary Oldman.
Right.
And I saw, I don't know his real name, but Rorschach, the guy who played Rorschach in Watchmen, was in there.
Yep.
And yeah, I was surprised with the cast.
Yeah, and you know it's kind of, you know, builds your confidence a little bit when you go into a movie that you're touching on such a big name movie. You know, you want to go into it with some people that you know are going to be able to get the job done, and I think they certainly did that here.
You know, at first, when the first few minutes of the movie, I was not impressed. Honestly, I thought the movie was going to be a disappointment. You know, within the during the beginning, but it picked up a lot. Right. As the movie went on. You know, besides Alex Murphy and, you know, they kept it like the old company name, they kept OCP in there, but other than that, they don't take any other characters from the original one. They make an entire, they make a completely different scenario. You know, it's still in Detroit with all different characters, but the story is still the same.
But it's got a different vibe to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge thing ongoing, you know, throughout the movie. I mean, for me personally, you know, when they're introducing Robocop in the old school one, you know, he's titanium plated. He's kind of like a juggernaut.
Yeah.
I mean, he certainly is that in the new film, but I think they made it a point early on in the new film to really show that, you know, he's not totally invulnerable. You know, they make sure that you understand that really early, whereas in the old one, you know, he's taking some rounds, you know, he does that in this, but I just think that, you know, where the new one kind of puts the old one, or it differs from the old one, is that the new one tries to almost give it more of a happy ending. In the original, you know, his wife and son are not really involved.
No. No, they just pack up and leave.
Right.
In the old one.
And, you know, obviously in the new film, spoiler alert, obviously, we watched it.
I should have mentioned that.
Yeah, yeah. In the original, they had that scene with his visor where he detaches his visor, you know, it's like halfway through, whatever, towards the end. I think where the new film differs is that, you know, he has that visor, but it's able to go up and down. And I think that original power in that scene was that he's kind of like regaining a little bit of his humanity there. He's no longer just a robot. He is a person, and that scene was powerful. In the new one, the fact that the visor is able to move up and down like whenever he wants, I feel like kind of detached from that.
He has it all taken away from him right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like in the new film, it progresses that they're taking away his humanity away from him, and you know by the end he doesn't have it.
Right.
Anymore almost, but in the old one he doesn't start with that at all.
Right.
You know, he doesn't remember anything.
I think even the way that they kind of killed him in the new one was clever. I mean, in the original, he kind of just gets blown to pieces.
The originals, that's one of the most gruesome things I've ever seen in films. That's
The original?
I mean, I might be a sick person, but I love the violence
Yeah.
in the first one, and even the second one, in Robocop 2. The violence in both of those movies is ridiculous.
I mean, that's kind of like the charm of it. You know, it's got that old vintage style. It's like it's
That old, very sick charm.
It's old
that
and
we love.
so outrageous that like you're just like it's kind of awesome. And in the new one, you know, he the way he kind of gets disposed of is by a car bomb, and I just thought, you know, it's a little bit more plausible. You know, in the first one, he kind of takes a round to the head and gets blown apart by like 5 guys with shotguns.
Yep.
You know, it's a real thug way to go out. It ends in a happier way. You know, his wife and son are still in the picture, and I think, you know, the original just has a much different feel. For the like, I didn't like how almost happy and cleanly it ended.
The new one had a very disappointing ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think Samuel L. Jackson saying "motherfucker" at the end made up for the ending. I thought that was really funny.
But I'd have to say that that's probably the biggest difference for me, anyway, is how they kind of show the you know, the humanistic side of him, you know, and how that conflicts with the robotic side of him. I think that is a huge way in which these two films differ. I like that he's a little bit more vulnerable in the new one. I kind of like that. You know what I mean? He's not exactly wrapped in tinfoil, but he's not, you know, invulnerable either.
The better Robocop is Peter Weller.
Yeah.
By far. The guy
The
guy who played Robocop in the new one,
wasn't as good.
he started off, he had no personality. Even when he was not
When
not
a robot.
Robocop, he had no personality. Which,
Yeah.
you know, is crazy. As far as the sequel goes, I don't know if they're talking about it or not. Maybe they will. They did a sequel. They did 2 sequels for the old one. Robocop 2 and 3. 3 is horrible. I will say that. 2 is good. Robocop 2 is good, but Robocop 3 is bad. Oops.
My mom.
But yeah, at first it disappointed me. You know, I thought the beginning of it started off really shaky, and I thought it was going to end up being a disappointing film. But overall, it's not terrible. And besides the weak ending, I think it's not. It holds true, I think, to the original.
Yeah.
I think so. That'll be a big argument between, you know, the Robocop fans, obviously, but I think it does.
You know, Robocop still feel the need to scan my groceries on his visor, self-checkout. But, you know, he's still Robocop, guys.
That's
Check it out.
Robocop.
Robocop.